this one sucked. Welcome into the PHLY Phillies postgame show presented by Bet365. Find out why it's never ordinary at Bet365. If you're looking to listen to the PHLY Bet show the other day, I gave out a little bills and a little under there, so you'd have some funny money going into the weekend. I did not have a feeling of this game being 10-0 Mets. To be honest with you, Renee and Tyler, I actually felt pretty good going into this game, and that's kind of what makes it burn, is that it's Nola in, what's relatively a big spot, and it just feels like, ugh.
Yeah, I mean, what makes it worse? We're coming off of a day off where we're looking at the final 16 games, knowing that the Phillies play the Mets 7 of those 16 with a chance to lock in the NL East, lock in the top spot of the NL. This is all playoff focus, magic number. And to come out, and it's one thing to lose. It's another thing where you give up just 3-run home runs like your Oprah giving out cars. And so that part's a little bit frustrating because it could have been, I would have been okay with the loss if it was just like down to
a hard-fought game, yeah.
But like, maybe this is
terrible.
You don't have to up the stress of like, can they come back? Whatever. It's over. It's over.
No,
game
this
over.
is over.
Now game 2.
Tyler, are you having PTSD flashbacks of old September Nola? Because I felt like he kind of gotten over it the past 2 years, and now it feels like it's rearing its head again.
2022, I believe it was. He had a really good September. He had posted a 2.3 ERA. But remember, guys, last year he was bad in September as well. In September and the regular season portion of October, a 5.47 ERA last year. This year, a 5.06, which is sure to go up after tonight's start. And it was a weird start for him because while he was throwing and it's not really throwing a no-hitter after 4, but held the Mets hitless through 4 innings. The first 2 innings were a lot of work to get through to come out unscathed. He threw 31 pitches in the first 2 innings. Then he kind of settled down a little bit, and you thought 3 and 4 looked pretty good. I think he threw less than 20 pitches in those 2 innings combined. And then it really
7 in 1 inning.
It really just unraveled quickly. The curveball kind of started a little bit of like a humpback thing. It wasn't as sharp as it was in the first couple of innings. Francisco Alvarez absolutely tattooed a pitch that he kind of Carlton Fisked fair off the foul pole.
Yeah, and Tyler, before you go on, what did you texted us right away after that home run that you saw something on that pitch? Why don't you tell the good people what you saw?
It was kind of unfortunate. No, it's not unfortunate they were doing the interview with Buddy Kennedy's family. It was a nice interview. But you
John Money is such a great name, isn't it? It's so good.
Really.
Such a good name.
You didn't catch it right until so Nola came set, and it was first and second. I think it was 1 out at the time. Nola comes set, and Jose Iglesias takes his lead off of second. And right as Nola comes set and he's about ready to throw the pitch, Jose Iglesias sticks his arm out and signals something to Francisco Alvarez. And it was something that caught my attention right away. And our buddy Chunas tweeted it out as well, something he noticed.
Oh, did he?
Wow.
I don't know if
look at you two seam heads.
I don't know if Aaron Nola was tipping his pitches. I don't know if Jose Iglesias figured out what their signs were. And it's not necessarily as much signs anymore with PitchCom, but figured out what the pitch was going to be. But it's pretty clear to me that Jose Iglesias tipped that pitch off to Francisco Alvarez, which he was able to turn on it and hit it off the foul pole for the 3-run home run. But I noticed it right away that he was calling that pitch out.
Well, it's interesting you say that. I don't know if either of you watched the John Boy Media breakdown of the Castellanos plunk the other night, but it's really worth your time if you haven't watched it because it talks about just that. The guy that breaks it down, I forget what his name is. He basically said there was a tell from the Rays pitcher where, if the sinker was coming, he was going below his belt with his glove and he was above his belt with everything else, with glove placement and just, getting a grip on the ball. So, tells and stuff of that nature happens all the time. It's funny. It comes, notice that right after this video goes like super viral and has 3 million views because it's kind of the intricacies of the game that you don't pick up on all the time, but when it's there, it's always kind of cool, that's part of the game.
Well,
yeah, and I mean, I think a guy like Aaron Nola, when you look at how many innings he's pitched and Mr. Durability, like the more routine he has as a pitcher also just naturally leads itself to, even if he's unintentionally doing it, you're going to naturally have some sort of approach for your different pitches and different throws that guys will start to pick up on. We know they have the stats, the research, they're watching so much of every game and film and just studying and learning. So naturally, it makes sense to me that Aaron might have, we picked up on it before with Ryan Kerkering. Aaron Nola might have an approach that's a little bit more predictable where he's not doing a good enough job of disguising what he's going to throw.
Yeah, this weekend I would love to be able to, if we have some time between the three of us collectively, like kind of break down, especially with him in the stretch, because it's, I think that's where the tip came from. But I've said this before, like, it's a little different now that the pitch comm is in effect because you're not putting traditional like finger signs, tapping your gear anymore. But I've said this plenty of times, like guys, sometimes I did this a lot just to like, it was a little bit of pissing the pitcher and catcher off. It was a little bit of the chess match that you play. You're on second base, you take your lead, whether you know the sign or not.
Yeah.
You kind of just like, you stick an arm out, right? You tap your leg, you tap your helmet, like, if you know the sign and that's your tell, that's great. If you don't know the sign, you're in the catcher's head now. It's why cadences change. It's why they went to a lot of tapping with runners on second, because it's a direct look into what the catcher's sign is going to be. Of course, it's a little bit different now with pitch comm because it all goes right to their ear. But that's just part of the chess match of the game. Whether Iglesias knew what he was about to throw or not, I think I give them a lot of credit for playing that chess match and not, quite frankly, not only playing the chess match, but like absolutely obliterating the chess match. It was checkmate.
It's 11-0 now. Cody
Cody
Clemens on the mound. Yeah, it wasn't Garrett Stubbs. It was old Cody tonight. You got mop up duty.
Before we get into discussing more about Aaron Nola, because there's a lot to talk about with him, Jesse Winker, New York version of Jesse Winker is just a totally different person. Like, I know the hair's long, but I don't know what changed when he went to the Empire State and Citi Field, and I don't know what's happened there, but he's unrecognizable in general. But this Mets team, I feel like, is weird of like, we've been talking about how well they've been playing as the season goes on. They've been one of those dangerous teams you don't want to face in the playoffs if they get in there and they look like they should lock in a wild card spot. But something is different in the air for the Mets as a whole. And like when I look individually at guys like Jesse Winker, I'm like, what are you guys doing behind the scenes? If they're feeling it, they're playing great baseball. I mean, I hate to say it. I mean, it's 11-0 right now. They're playing great baseball and they're really clicking at all the right times. But unfortunately, it is 11-0.
Yeah, it's a really good baseball. I think that roster wise, it was a really good baseball team last year. This year, they trade Verlander at the deadline. They trade DeGrom at the deadline. They don't make a ton of splashy free agent moves.
Yeah, they're waiting for Soto.
Right. I think everybody expects them to be waiting for Juan Soto next year, but they still had talent on the roster. It was a matter of the pitching staff didn't look great behind Kodai Senga, and then Senga goes down for a bulk of the year. And we all kind of expected maybe this team to flounder a little bit and then kind of, resurge next year. Yeah. But like you said, Renee, they're playing with a swagger right now. They're playing with a confidence right now. And Quintana is one of the arms that has been so paramount to their success.
And Renee has been really good this season. Then you have guys like Alvarez, Lindor, Pete Alonso, bringing in a Jesse Winker. And honestly, I remember there was a point where when the rumors came out that the Mets were hoping they could land Juan Soto, it was laughable at that time because they were doing so poorly. But now that's a legitimate option for Juan Soto for the next year. I don't want to jump ahead of ourselves, but when you really think about it, you plug in a piece like Juan Soto into this lineup, you get healthy. That's a scary thought to think about, but I'm going to try not to think too far ahead. But lately, if I'm Juan Soto, I think that option is looking more and more appetizing.
Well, Francisco Lindor, could be the MVP this year if it wasn't for Ohtani putting up freakish numbers like he's doing. And unfortunately, we have to cheer for the Braves tonight. Yeah, Francisco Lindor, he had to leave the game tonight. We'll see what happens. Maybe they were up 7-0 and he felt a little tweak and they just were playing it safe and said, hey, go hit the showers early. We got this one wrapped up. Or maybe it's something more serious, but that is potentially a devastating blow for the Mets tonight, because back issues are not what you want to hear in the middle of September.
Yeah, it's kind of strange too, because it was he fouled
on a real cocky play, right? He should have slid.
Yeah,
what was he doing?
Well, he fouled the pitch off the instep of his foot in that at bat, and then he hits the double, and it got weird, and he stumbles off the bag. It was a weird sequence of events. I think he got up
probably fine.
He got up kind of smiling, so I'm thinking maybe large lead, precautionary measures. Obviously, we'll see tomorrow if he's in the lineup. I would expect him probably to be, unless he wakes up tomorrow and the back's tightened up. But Renee, you were talking about the potential of a Juan Soto. Obviously, that means the likelihood is, unless they're willing to spend a ton of money, that means that Pete Alonso is probably going to walk in free agency. But you would then have an opportunity, and you could figure out how you want to do it. Do you want Francisco Lindor to hit 1 and Soto to hit 2? Do you want Soto hitting 2 and Lindor hitting 3? I know it's a long way down the line, and we're just playing speculation, but that's a really, really potent, back. They're going to hit back-to-back somewhere in that lineup. It's a really potent back-to-back group of hitters for the Mets.
If you're the Yankees, though, you can't let him go to
New York. No, you spend a ton of money.
Or to the other side of town.
Oh, yeah. Of all places to have him go, you can't let him go to the Mets from the Yankees.
Yeah, I just feel like you're going to have to dip into their bank accounts for that one and just, bite the bullet. And it's not really a bullet. I mean, he's a freak player.
Right. You if you're the Yankees, you're finding a way to keep him, especially with how well the Mets are surging. And don't let them have a good postseason run. It's a scary team already. But to your point about Lindor, the foot, you could see him stomping it out, trying to figure it out. He's been having an incredible season, as you mentioned, an MVP-like season. It's him, it's Bobby Witt Jr. that are going to be falling short of being MVP because they just have guys ahead of them that have been incredible and lights out. But he's been really a big part of carrying this offense. They can score. They give you good at bats. I mean, you get multiple 3-run home runs in an inning alone. This team, it doesn't take a lot. And we know Aaron Nola had the hitless streak going until he didn't. Felt good, as we were talking about before. You feel good about it. I thought he battled. I actually wrote down yay, the third inning. He went.
He was dealing.
He was. From the second to the fourth inning, he had 10 strikeouts, 10 consecutive batters he retired, excuse me. And
it was right before that home run. It was 10 straight batters.
And then literally the home run happened. It's okay. So that's how fast it changes, just like that.
So Rich Hoffman tweeted out, and it's kind of exactly how I feel. And I think it's probably how all of Phillies fans feel. So Rich Hoffman tweeted out, retires 10 guys straight. Gives up 6 runs the next inning. This is peak bad Nola. I truly can't remember a player like Nola. I love that he was here through the lean years. Seems like a great guy. His durability / the amount of innings he eats is so underrated. Was great in last year's playoffs. And yet I do not get how innings like that ever happened to someone so good. And it's true. When you think about the greats in this game, Zach Wheeler, how often does he have an inning like that where he's serving up, 2-3-run homers? That just doesn't happen. He is prone. It feels like he's always playing with the devil a little bit. He's always an inch away from imploding. Maybe it's because he relies so much on his precise command. I don't know, but it is a weird conundrum with him, because I genuinely do like Aaron Nola and think he's a very good pitcher. And then nights like this happen, and you're just left scratching your head how does this happen regularly?
I think my biggest issue with Aaron Nola is, why does it always have to be such a steep fall from the cliff?
Yeah, it's not like a 2-run, 3-run. It's like an implosion.
You walk a couple of guys. You have a couple of hits you give up. It's a very steep decline for him. And I started digging in the numbers. I know I tweeted some of them out because I was actually mind-boggled. And I was thinking through, it feels like we've seen this before. It feels like this happens very often. Well, as we know, this start marked Aaron Nola's 30th start of the season. That's 6 consecutive seasons of 30-plus starts. Yay, rah, rah. With that, though, behind the numbers, there's a lot more context that's left out of that. He's only had 8 starts this season where he's been able to go 7 or more innings. And typically he hovers around 5 or 6. And when it gets to 5 or 6, it gets a little bit rocky. and Aaron Nola drastically drops off. He can give you over 100 pitches. Great. Durability of 100 plus, but can we get those 100 pitches stretched out over 7 innings versus you getting so deep in the pitch count because you have the second, third, and fourth inning where you can't strike guys out? It's just so inconsistent and it's so back and forth. And so I'll get you guys a chance to share your thoughts before I go nerd diving into some numbers that I found that were like mind blowing. But Aaron Nola just has the ability to have a 3.41 ERA coming
real
in,
bad, real
1.18
quick
WHIP, but then turns around and has an inning where you give up 2 3-run home runs, which is something that we haven't seen from the Phillies since our buddy Connor Brogdon did it April 20th of 2021 against the Giants. Todd Zaleski tweeted that out, and I was like, of course, it would be Connor Brogdon. Aaron's never allowed 2 3-run home runs in a game before and never allowed them in the same inning, and it was Connor that did that last for the Phillies. Aaron, when he has bad moments, they are historically bad. Of the first time we've ever seen this, he's never had this happen before, and he's been really up and down, and it makes it tough because you don't know which Aaron Nola. It's like Dr. Jekyll and Hyde. Which Aaron Nola are you getting today? Are you getting 7 innings, lights out Aaron Nola, or are you getting RAV4 fourth inning type of performance where he just cannot throw strikes and guys are getting ahead of him in the count and he's just struggling?
So here's the thing with Aaron Nola. We've talked about how he is susceptible to the long ball at times. I've
noticed those.
He more times than not does not walk a lot of hitters. His command, as you talked about, Jamie, is usually pretty good. Sometimes he gets beat with too many pitches over the heart of the plate, and that is a thing that happens. Like the guys with the best command sometimes just throw too many strikes. George Kirby's been hit around a couple times this year, really, really hard for 7, 8, 9 runs in a game because he throws a ton of strikes. But it is a blessing to have a guy who is going to take the ball every 5th day, who is going to be an innings eater. He's 4th in the league in innings pitched this year. So if you are limiting your base runners, right, your whip is generally pretty good, which it has been for Aaron Nola for a bulk of this season. More times than not, those 3-run home runs are solo shots, and it's 2 runs instead of 6. Tonight's game, however,
solo home runs don't kill you. 3-run shots do.
Tonight's game a little bit different because leading up to the 2 home runs that he allowed was a base hit for Jose Iglesias, came off the bat 103.5 miles an hour. Next at bat, base hit for Tyrone Taylor, 103.7 off the bat for a base hit. Francisco Lindor, 96.5 for a base hit after the Francisco Alvarez home run. Mark Vientos was the only one who had like a bleeder at 86, and then the home run from Brandon Nimmo. So 3 of the 4 runners that he allowed prior to the 2-run home runs, or the 2 3-run home runs tonight, were hard contact and hit hard. That happened a lot in that 5th inning for Aaron Nola. He's been really good this year. I know there's a lot of vitriol towards him because of the unpredictability of the home runs. And, I think that the home runs are almost predictable at this point for him. His command has been sharp for a bulk of the year. His whip has been good for a bulk of the year. He's kept runners off base for a bulk of the year. The last 2 starts, he hasn't. He wasn't good in Miami. Didn't get out of the 5th. And tonight he wasn't good either. Didn't get out of the 6th. Or didn't get out of the 5th. 5th. Didn't get out of the 5th again tonight. So back-to-back starts in which he didn't get out of the 5th. That's detrimental to a team's success. There's no doubt about it. You need Aaron Nola to kind of buck the trend a little bit of bad September starts to continue to push the tempo like they have.
Marsh just went yard to get 3 back. Woo! It's 11-3. It's not that bad, guys. Woo!
Comeback time.
But I will say this as one of the big Aaron Nola advocates on this program this season. I was quite frustrated with him last September. This season, as one of the big Aaron Nola advocates, his last 2 starts have left a lot to be desired. They haven't been good at all.
Yeah, it's a high ceiling for Aaron Nola, but a very low floor. And the silver lining today is that the Flyers, even though they lost, Mitchkov scored. Yay, there's some silver lining for you guys. But you know what? When you want to change the floor and raise it up a little bit, you can do that with our friends over at Empire Today, because you can make sure to have the carpets, the flooring, the hardwood, the linoleum, the tiling that you want in your house that matches as you're doing any renovation projects, as you're maybe buying a house and looking to change up the flooring. Maybe it's just time for a change because you've had that same carpet for many, many years and it's had a lot of stains and pets made some stains and your kids have tore it up and it's time for new carpet. Whatever it may be, reach out to Empire today. I know my parents actually just got their living room carpet changed out. It's difficult when you're looking to figure out what color do I want, what texture, what am I looking for? Do I want to go hardwoods? Do I want to go carpet? Maybe you're trying to figure out for that kitchen or bathroom, what type of flooring do you want in terms of tiling and there's so many options. I personally love it. And what I love about Empire today is they have people that also love it and have all the insight that you need to make sure to give you the right products for your needs. And with Empire today, they want to give you the convenience of knowing you're going to get quick and professional installation and a price match guarantee. They also, as the best place to get new flooring, they will provide you with an easy shopping experience. And with their virtual floor designer, virtual, yes, meaning sitting from your couch, sitting from home, sitting from wherever you are, you can have a chance to check out how those new floors will look in any space. They have an easy option for you to be able to snap a picture and instantly see how those floors will look in your space. So now as you're shopping for floors, you can see how they match your backsplash, how they look going up against the paint and the paneling. Maybe do they match the lighting of your room and the vibe that you're going for, and having confidence as you're buying that new flooring, because it's difficult. But they're going to give you honest upfront advice. They're going to give you the virtual floor designer to simplify things. And then you're also going to get some great prices as well with Empire today. So make sure to schedule a free in-home estimate today. All listeners get a chance to receive a $350 discount when you use the promo code PHLY. Some restrictions do apply, but check out empiretoday.com/PHLY for more details. Again, to get that $350 discount with the great service, the great support, great advice, and tools to make it a lot simpler as you're looking to get that new flooring in your home.
Yeah, and if you were smart tonight, you would have bet on the Mets. I didn't see this one coming, so it kind of blindsided me. Some would say it's never ordinary. Much like our friends over at Bet365, you can find out why it's never ordinary at Bet365. Download the app and use promo code PHLY365 at sign up. You can get $200 in bonus bets when you deposit $10 and lose a $5 wager. And Bet365 pioneered live in-game betting. So if you had the Mets tonight and they went up by 7 runs, so as soon as it went to 7-0, what was that, the 6th inning? You would have gotten cashed out right then and there on the spot. You could have taken that money, not have to wait till the end of the game, and, put it into something else. Maybe a little Kansas State football game tonight versus Arizona or whatever else. And they're great with their early payouts. Bet365 is just awesome. And it's football season now, and you can find out why it's never ordinary. Keep your eyes out for the PHLY custom boosted bets. We have tons of stuff coming your way. They have early payouts in basketball, baseball, football, and hockey. They pioneered live in-game betting, and every day they're powering up on hundreds of bets to give you a chance to win more with over 10,000 boosts every single month. When we boost, they boost specific markets, like here with PHLY. So look out for our custom boosts, your winnings, and even parlays. Keep an eye out for those custom bets. Download the Bet365 app. Use code PHLY365 when you sign up to get $200 in bonus bets when you bet just $5. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 21 and older and physically located in Pennsylvania. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-GAMBLER. All right, we are official. The Phillies lose 11-3. Good times. We will get into Aaron Nola some more, but upcoming, unfortunately, and why this one kind of really sucks is now you have Colby Allard coming back up tomorrow night in a relatively big spot. Oh, I didn't look. Is tomorrow afternoon or night? I just said tomorrow night without even really glancing at the schedule.
It is tomorrow at 4:05 start.
4:05. So tomorrow afternoon, Colby Allard takes the mound with kind of the series on the line. Never really like to say those words out loud. Now he is competent, Colby Allard, and I assume that's why Max Lazar took the extra inning of work tonight to just go burn that arm out, kid. You're going back down tomorrow. I assume Kolby Allard will come up in the morning. And now the series hinges on competent Kolby. How are we feeling about that one, gang?
Boy. So the Phillies hadn't officially announced that it's going to be Kolby because naturally
it will be.
It will be, though. We already knew that Kolby could be called up after September 10th because of the rules and all that. So it's his time. Kolby Allard with his 3.50 ERA on the season, 13 Ks, a 1.33 whip.
He's been good.
He's been good. Listen,
competent Kolby.
Your actual question, because the stats don't answer the question. I don't know how to feel, to be honest, because what makes me nervous, although Kolby Allard's been good, is the reality at some point he's going to turn back into a pumpkin. I just hope that doesn't happen tomorrow, because there are a lot of guys that we've seen get called up, especially pitchers. We've seen Tyler Phillips. We've seen Michael Mercado. The list goes on and on. Seth Johnson, it was one and done. But at some point, reality sets in. It's the excitement of getting called to the majors. It's the excitement of your debut. Maybe you're playing at home, mostly for pitchers more than even like the Buddy Kennedys and Cal Stevensons, because pitching is such a challenge. It's such a challenge at the major league level. So I have been very optimistic that he's the best of the rest. That's what I can say. With confidence of the options right now, I feel the most confident in Kolby compared to anybody else as the fifth starter for the Phillies. That's not a very high bar, though, when you look across the list from Taijuan Walker all the way through to everybody that's been called up. So I'm hoping tomorrow, it's a nice Saturday afternoon. They got beat up on today. Now they're going to go tomorrow, and the offense is going to be great. And it's the Phillies naturally respond. So tomorrow, I think the offense will help them out. I don't know that it's going to be Kolby Allard that helps them win the game. It might end up being a few innings, and now you got to lean on the bullpen. But fortunately, they didn't have to go to the bullpen today. The bullpen didn't get used today, and I feel optimistic about the game. I don't know that I feel as optimistic about Kolby.
Yeah, you do have the bullpen.
Yeah.
Tyler, how you feeling? Oh, you're muted, Tyler.
Would help if my mic. It doesn't even matter.
There you go.
Nobody wants to hear what I have to say. I would think that of the three pitching matchups,
Barbara Carroll loves you, Tyler. Don't you stop it. You stop it. Barbara Carroll loves you.
The one that you would feel, the least excited and intrigued about was, Luis Severino has been pitching really well for this team too. It kind of rolls right into the conversation of what we've had with this Mets team for a while now, as they are just playing really, really inspired good baseball. And it's part and parcel because of the fact that their rotation's been so good. Kolby Allard's done a really nice job of kind of stemming the tide just a little bit. You're going to see what kind of makeup the kid has today or tomorrow, because A, it's a really difficult, up and down type of thing. And B, this is a really hot Mets lineup that seems to be crushing just about everybody. I think the Phillies needed this one tonight. They needed a strong outing from Aaron Nola.
Yeah.
Because I don't have any particular confidence in Kolby Allard tomorrow in winning this game. I think that he's done a good job of the whole cliche of changing speeds, throwing strikes, keeping hitters off their
playing with fire
on foot, but he's also been playing with a little bit of fire at times. I would not be surprised tomorrow if the Mets come out and light him up a little bit. If you do think the Phillies can win this game, then if you're on the Bet365 app, I'd consider taking the over. But I would say that if there were a game that I don't feel good about heading into the series, it was this one, or tomorrow already. But I think tomorrow might be a rough sledding for Kolby Allard.
Yeah, that's why it stinks to kind of lose the Nola start here. Sanchez, luckily you get at home before the team goes on the road to Milwaukee, but you're stacked up well against Milwaukee. But it's that time of the year now, where magic numbers are real and seeding is real, and we're cheering for the Braves tonight, and that's disgusting. They were up 5-0 last I looked. I haven't looked at it. But unfortunately, you didn't really set yourself up for a ton of success in this series with Kolby Allard most likely starting tomorrow. Tyler, you have some numbers on the nerd research department over there on Jose Quintana, who basically dominated the Phillies tonight.
Yeah, kept them off balance all night. And the funny thing is, too, we know Quintana as kind of, I don't want to call him a junk baller. That's not fair, because he used to have a little bit of life to his fastball. It's, he's only thrown about 91 now, but a good crafty lefty veteran, savvy, mixes pitches well. Tonight, he just basically said, here's my fastball, try to hit it. I think he was at like 71% or 72% between his four seam and his sinker tonight. He really didn't throw a ton of curveballs, didn't really throw a ton of changeups, just kind of attacked the Phillies hitters tonight, and they really didn't have an answer for Quintana. But that's kind of been the trend for Quintana over the last couple of starts. In his last 4 starts now, dating back to the 25th. Now, granted, he did have a start against the White Sox in there, so it certainly helps the numbers a little bit. But dating back to the 25th, when he pitched in San Diego, his last 4 starts, he's thrown 25 innings, and he's given up 1 earned run in those 25 innings. The strikeout numbers have been decent. He didn't strike anybody out in San Diego, but he had back-to-back 6 strikeout starts against the White Sox and the Reds. He's done a good job, a really good job in this second half of the season. Tip of the cap to the guy tonight. The Phillies had no answer for him. It was a pretty anemic night for the offense. But at some point, I want to give the guy a little bit of credit because he's pitched really well in the last 4 or 5 weeks.
Yeah, he has. And honestly, for the Mets, it's been him, it's been Severino, it's been Renee. They've had a really good amount of contributions from their better pitching staff. It helps when you have, I just double checked, but offensively, they are top 5 in terms of home runs, top 10 in terms of RBI. They're getting the run support. Their offense is very consistent with that, which also makes me nervous tomorrow going up against Colby Allard. But it's a very consistent all-around team ball that they're playing right now. They're finding ways to win games. They're finding ways to grind out wins with different, similar to actually what we've seen from the Phillies. It's different guys that are able to contribute. So if Lindor plays tomorrow, that makes you a little more nervous, but it doesn't matter because even with having a Jeff McNeil go down with a hand injury, doesn't matter. The Mets have had different guys, Brandon Nimmo and Pete Alonso.
By the way, I hate Nimmo.
Pick a name.
I don't know what it is about. I don't know what it is. Maybe I hate the name Nimmo.
I was gonna say, is Nimmo bothering you?
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe just the general uniform and hat he wears. Pete Alonso is very hateable. For some reason, Nimmo just chaps my ass.
I'm sorry to hear that, Jamie. He's definitely very frustrating to watch. They all are. We do not like the Mets, and that's what makes it worse when you see the Phillies have a really disappointing game like that against the Mets, because you know what? It indeed makes your blood boil. And you know where you indeed can get some better help? That's on the hiring side. We may not be able to help with all the frustrations of baseball with the Phillies, but we can at least help you guys out with the hiring process. It's very difficult, whether you're a recruiter or you're someone looking for a job, to find the job that's the right fit. And with Indeed, they are driven by the search for a better process when it comes to hiring. They're not just searching for candidates, they're matching you with candidates. They want to make sure that you have the opportunity to get hired with a job that fits you and expediting the process to make it more of a high quality process. So getting you connected to get the interview sooner, the conversation going sooner with the people that you're interested in. So if you're someone that's looking to hire, you need Indeed. They're the best source to match and to hire. And as a platform with over 350 million global monthly visitors, according to their Indeed data. They also have a matching engine that just helps you find quality candidates fast. They're focused on the quality, not the quantity. And with Indeed, they know that it's difficult to find and sort through and find that needle in the haystack. Well, 93% of employers have agreed that Indeed delivers the highest quality matches compared to other job sites. And why is that? Because they do a good job of getting you connected with your candidates right away. They have a process of being able to message them, schedule interviews, and just really takes the struggles out of finding that great candidates for you. So join more than 3.5 million businesses worldwide that use Indeed to hire great talent fast. And as a listener of the show, you'll get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/AllCity. So just go to Indeed.com/AllCity right now and support our show by saying that you heard about Indeed right here on PHLY Phillies podcast. Again, Indeed.com/AllCity. Terms and conditions do apply. If you need to hire, you need Indeed. I sent my sister to Indeed. I've sent a lot of people to Indeed that are hiring as managers or recruiters. If you need to hire, you definitely need Indeed.
Indeed, you do. Let me tell you about something I'm doing this weekend. Me and the family are doing a little outdoor camping. Girls' first time camping, and one of my first thoughts was the cooler. Got to have the cooler stocked up and ready to go. And you know, if you're familiar with Rugged Road, if you're not, well, you should be. And head to ruggedroadoutdoors.com right now, because PHLY is the code, and it'll get you 10% off. Rugged Road is dedicated to creating the innovative and durable outdoor gear for adventurers who demand the best. So the products are designed with the highest quality material and craftsmanship, ensuring that they'll perform under the toughest conditions. So whether it's on land, water, or even just a tailgate, Rugged Road gear is built to accompany you on every adventure. If you're a water person, Rugged Road is a floatable cooler. So it floats upright. You're never going to lose a drink with it. And my favorite part about it, if you're familiar with some of those other coolers out there, they weigh 6,000 pounds. Rugged Road isn't like that. They have a lightweight design, which is beautiful. You don't need a person to carry it with you. It's more transportable. You can take it to the pool, to the tailgate, to the backyard, whatever it may be. It's durable, it's versatile. So gear up for your next adventure with Rugged Road coolers. Reliable, durable, and built to be used. Rugged Road is your ultimate outdoor companion. Head to ruggedroadoutdoors.com and use that code PHLY for 10% off. And yes, this is the Phillies post-game show presented by Bet365. It's never ordinary at Bet365. We'll get into all the injury updates and everything else coming your way, but I was just curious, so I dove on to Bet365. The Phillies are a dog tomorrow night. Now, Colby Allard is not listed as the starter, but the Phillies are a plus 1.5 on the run line at minus 165, and they are a minus 105 on the money line. So the odds makers do not like the Phillies tomorrow. Which is fine, I guess. Let's go Braves.
It's not a surprise. We kind of
no, it's not a surprise.
Kind of laid it out as to why that's not a surprise. There's a handful of reasonings behind it, and probably the biggest one is Colby Allard is pitching for the Phillies tomorrow.
Yep.
And I think Vegas at some point is understanding that maybe there is another shoe drop, and maybe there is a bad outing, a rough outing in there at some point. Mets are playing good ball. They come out and clobber the Phillies tonight. I think that Vegas probably looks at this as an opportunity for the Mets to gain another game in the standings on them.
Yeah, I mean, the Mets are 8-2 in their last 10. They had a streak of like 9 wins or something ridiculous. They keep having these really good winning streaks. They've also been, I don't have the exact average in front of me, but just from following along as I've been watching around the NL East, on average, it's 6, 7, 8 runs that they're scoring in a game. This team is, as the season goes on, they are literally just getting better. So by no surprise, after you win 11-3 today, with Colby Allard on the mound tomorrow, that there's the expectation that the Mets are going to win tomorrow. So let's hope underdog Phillies, underdog in this one tomorrow at home, that they can maybe prove that wrong.
So looking at the out-of-town scoreboard, we are unfortunately fans of two bad teams that we should never have to cheer for. But yet here we are cheering for the Atlanta Braves and the Arizona Diamondbacks. Bad. Shame. Well, the Braves are currently beating the Dodgers 6-2 in the top of the 9th, which is good. And the game just kicked off in Arizona in that house of horrors, that terrible stadium, Chase Field. So let's go Diamondbacks. Ooh.
I know. I don't really care who does what. The Phillies need to just keep winning. To me, none of the other scores and games matter. If the Phillies just
all that matters is the 1 and 2 seed. You need it.
So the frustrating part is, we talked about this yesterday in the show, the Phillies literally control their own destiny. Do not squander it and mess around. Go ahead, lock in, so we can all take the relief and the pressure off of our shoulder of wondering what's going to happen. Will they get that first round bye? It's just too much. So they have the ability to go ahead and, as we have been following the magic number, following the scores around the league, the most important thing, everybody else needs the Phillies to lose. Phillies don't lose. It's that simple. It's that simple. But I did have some other numbers for Aaron Nola because unfortunately how they lost. Aaron Nola's out
Oh,
there.
joy. I bet they're
basking
great,
in
aren't they? They're going to be fun, Renee. Please enlighten us
Let's be
and
basking
make
in
us
the
all
joy.
happy here. Yeah. What do
Okay.
you got for us?
I hope you guys are already Joe Sox and Spiral Out and Barbara and Lisa because unfortunately, yes, these are yawn-worthy stats or just very upsetting. So Aaron Nola, as we talk about this being a struggle, I know we already mentioned once it gets past 5 innings, it gets very difficult for Aaron Nola. You never know what you're going to expect. Well, you can expect him to be bad, typically around opponents' second, third, and eighth batter. So I just got to crunching some numbers. I was looking through his stats, trying to find there's got to be something here that we're missing. For whatever reason, Aaron Nola has given up 28 home runs this season. He's given up half of those to the second, third, or eighth batter. I mean, it's a good chunk more. But what's really eye-opening is the amount of RBIs because he's not just giving up. He's not just giving up a home run. He's giving up 3-run homers. He is giving up some 2-run home runs. He's given up 68 RBIs on the season. 40 of those RBIs that he's given up have fallen off of the bats of the 2, 3, or 8 hitter. So it's a substantial gap. I mean, he's given up 14 to batters, 16 to third batters, 10 to second. But when you look at the other batters, it's like 2, 3. It's like not even close. It's triple of the production that he provides for opponents' second, third, and eighth batter. And then today, again, what unfortunately increased that number is his 2 3-run home runs. Brandon Nimmo was batting third, and you also have Alvarez batting eighth. So he, for whatever reason, when he gets to that point in the lineup, he just really struggles. And outside of that, to be honest, Aaron Nola hasn't been bad. I mean, it's the other 6 batters he does pretty well against. It's just for whatever reason he gets up against those 3 in the lineup and just freezes. Just here you go.
2 and 3 makes sense, right? Typically, that's 2 of your probably 4 best hitters in the lineup. Now, at some point, you need your high-paid starter to get outs against other high-paid players, or or players who are going to get highly paid at some point in their careers. So it's not an entire surprise, but the eighth hole one is a little bit kind of shocking. Usually that's I think that's usually somebody down in the lineup that is struggling or has struggled in the past. Young guy or an aging vet, or maybe somebody that's a defensive-minded player, like a Johan Rojas type of player, hitting in the 8th spot. That's a little strange to me. See a lot of catchers hit 8th, especially catchers who are not as offensively gifted as like a JT or an Adley Rutschman or a Will Smith or a Contreras in Milwaukee. A lot of catchers hit 8th, so it seems to me maybe he's serving up a lot of long balls to other catchers. But kind of surprising that the 8-hole is as bad as it is.
Maybe it was Big Dumper.
No, I think
that's higher in the order. By the way, Matt Gelb just tweeted out. Matt Gelb just tweeted out Colby Allard will start tomorrow night, as we've been talking about. So competent Colby, we turn our attention to you. Hopefully some good news coming. Oh, sorry, Renee, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say I do feel like it just kind of is reminiscent of how Aaron Nola typically pitches. Like you look at a night like today where he started out really strong. His first 2 opponents, the first 2 guys, it's like out, and then it starts he hits a little bit of a rut. And I feel like naturally we get the ups and downs of him, definitely the second time through the lineup. But even as he's going through the lineup the first time, where you have a really strong start to the first inning and then struggled to get out of the first inning. Second and third inning was, he was good. And then, of course, here comes the fourth where he starts to hit a bit of a wall. So it's even to me, when you look at Nola's kind of ups and downs, it's second time through the lineup. It's the longer, obviously, he gets into the pitch count. And then next thing you know, he goes from 1, 2, 3 to the next inning. It's 20 pitches, 25 pitches, where the numbers start to skyrocket. So if he could somehow tighten up, and it's a shame he's a veteran, he knows these things, but tighten up of getting strikes, throwing strikes. He was throwing a lot of first pitch strikes early, and then through the lineup the second time, that even dropped off as well. So that number to me was, to you guys' point, most surprising about number 8. But it's a really big difference from 2, 3, and 8 to everybody else.
Yeah, of all the things that could go wrong with the Phillies heading into the playoffs, health aside, Aaron Nola imploding and returning to what we all kind of feared and had in the dark spots of our mind that we don't talk about because he is good 80% of the time. That would be up there on the top of my list if Aaron Nola becomes a liability heading into the playoffs. Boy, oh boy, my confidence will be shook.
It's actually kind of intriguing that the last 2 starts, the second time through the lineup has been really damning for him, because this year has been actually his best year ERA wise, the second time through the lineup since his 2018 season when he was
spectacular.
I think he finished 3rd in the Cy Young that year.
2.3 ERA that year.
Yeah, he had a 1.9 the second time through the lineup. This year, this is prior to tonight, of course. He had a 3.40 ERA and 63 and a third innings pitched the second time through the lineup. Slugging was kind of right around where he's been over the last couple of years. OBP is exactly the same. The batting average has dipped. Last year it was 271. This year it's 257. And then the hard hit rate has gone down. It was 30.2% last year. It's 28.5%. Now all of these numbers, of course, are going to change once the numbers get calculated into today's game. But he has been better in the second time through the lineup to this point in this season than he was, for a bulk of last year. It's just caught up to him in the last 2 starts. Miami, he got hit around the second time through. The Mets, obviously tonight, 6 runs in the 5th inning, got crushed the second time through. He's been pretty good, all things considered. The second time through the lineup this season, the last 2 starts haven't been it.
Yeah, and that's exactly it. I mean, you look at bigger picture in terms of the season, you can pinpoint there are a lot of areas Aaron Nola's been better. We haven't even had the RAF 4th inning cringes like we did in the past, but as of late, it's concerning. You look at the last 2 starts tonight, and that's loss to Miami, where he was only able to pitch for 4 2/3 innings and really struggled, giving up 5 runs, 4 of them earned, got hit around. I mean, it has been that second time to the lineup, which makes you nervous of we are getting towards playoffs and we need you to be able to get into 5 innings strong. Ideally 6 or 7, but definitely at least through the lineup twice. So I'm a little
all right. I got a positive update here.
All right, yeah,
a little positive update. Nola is stunk tonight. Let's move on. I can't talk about him anymore. I want to go bash my head against the wall. That's what he does to me on nights like this. I just want to yeah. All right. So here's a good update. Colby Allard is going to start tomorrow night. As Matt Gelb tweeted out, he also tweets out that Alec Boehm and Edmundo Sosa are going to AAA Lehigh for assignments tomorrow night. Both expected to be short stints, possibly 1-game stints down in the minors. So they could be possibly back as early as Sunday. I had in my notes, prior to the show, Hayes, Rob Thompson says, should be back before the end of the year, or probably is the word he used. Probably should be back before the end of the year. I don't know how much you can rely on Austin Hayes for anything.
For the end of the year, but okay.
But Bowman, Sosa are the big ones, and then the other one is Spencer Turnbull. He threw a bullpen session today, is expected to throw again on Monday, and he has hit 92 on the gun in terms of him bouncing back on the gun. So some pretty positive updates there. Bohm obviously being the biggest one. No offense to Buddy Kennedy. I am not looking forward to watching him play third base nightly. So Alec Boehm coming back would be great. So some positive updates there on the injury front.
Oh, yeah, that was huge. I know we got the in-game update about Boehm, how he's been getting his third base reps with that. Yeah, he's been actually hitting back on the big bat. And now they're just doing the extra steps and precautions of wrapping his hand and giving it the extra support to continue to ramp up his reps. Honestly, this is the benefit. I know Joe Sox is mentioning in the chat of the Phillies jumping out to such a big lead. We've talked about it many times in the show. It gives you that cushion of knowing if you do have some roadblocks, some losses here and there, and even with injuries, there's no need to panic. You don't have to rush Alec Boehm back. Buddy Kennedy's been doing enough. He, hasn't cost you games. He's actually helped you win games. So that's a bright spot when you think about where this team is headed. If you're able to get back Alec Boehm and you're able to get back Edmundo Sosa, you got back JT today from his knee injury. You got back Kyle Schwarber as well. So if this team is, and Kyle only missed one game, of course, but if this team is able to start getting the pieces back together, it does take the pressure off. Even getting back Turnbull would be so nice. I just to add another bullpen on that you can, count to come and eat some innings.
Yeah, I don't know what they would rely on him for.
No, he would be a nice, kind of like Tanner Banks and one of those.
I would trust Jose Ruiz way more than I would trust Spencer Turnbull anytime soon. So I mean, I guess he makes the playoff roster, but I don't know what kind of leverage you use Spencer Turnbull in.
Ruiz is going to make the playoff roster at this point. Turnbull, I don't believe is going to. So because with Turnbull,
he would have to be lights out or something, just unhittable. Henry Rowan Gardner.
I'm just not sure there's a role for him currently, and I say that knowing
Ruiz took it.
I know that, right? So I say that knowing that Taijuan Walker is on this team, right? And what I mean by I don't think there's a role for him is how many innings do you think Spencer Turnbull is going to be able to provide on a nightly basis when he does return healthy? And if the answer is less than 2, I'm not sure where he would slot into. He would be on the regular season remainder roster.
Yeah.
I would imagine. You would be sending down a Lazar or a Phillips or an whomever. But I don't know come playoff time if there's if they necessitate a spot for him at this point. You bring up Alec Boehm and the third base position. So I guess Cody Clemens probably starts there tomorrow with the righty on the mound and Severino. But to get back to being a step closer to being healthy, I think will be paramount for this team's success. Of course it will. You want your best players on the field. That's a pretty no-dust statement.
Yeah, Alec Boehm, you can make the case is the team's MVP this year. So the Phillies are better when Alec Boehm plays baseball for them. All right, a couple things before we get out of here. Obviously, we talked about needing the Diamondbacks and the Braves, but a quick glance at the playoff standings as they are incomplete as of September 13th. The Braves are now a game and a half back of the Mets. The Diamondbacks have a game and a half lead over the last wild card spot. San Diego just a half game behind the Arizona Diamondbacks. Chicago Cubs, it's going to be tough to get back into the mix at this point. Nothing's impossible, but 5.5 games back of the final wild card spot. So it's going to be a race here. Mets, Braves. It's going to be interesting to watch, and the Phillies obviously are going to play a huge hand in what other NL East team makes the playoffs. So it's kind of fun.
Yeah, it's a race to the finish. It's all about now kind of keeping an eye on what those other teams are doing and also keeping an eye on what the matchups could potentially be in the playoffs. But to your point, there are positives to definitely still take away from this. Even as you look at Bryce Harper tonight, getting his 40th double of the season. That's the second time in his career he's ever eclipsed 40 doubles, which also made some history because him and Alec Boehm both reached 40 doubles this season. And they're the first duo to do it since Aaron Nola and Chase Utley back in 2007. So the Phillies still setting some history.
You just got the press release too?
Yeah, but no, that was
I just saw the press release come over and I was reading the same thing as you were saying it.
I got that in the
Bryce Harper good.
But
did you?
He hasn't hit a home run since August 9th. We talked about it. His at-bats have been looking good. The team did struggle to get anything past the infield today, but you expect that naturally their offense is going to have those games where it's just flat and you're just not getting the production that you need. So getting back some healthy guys, you get, the excitement of maybe an Alec Boehm getting back, Sosa getting back, might just be right on time for what this Phillies team needs to close out the regular season.
Yeah, there wasn't a lot of hard hit balls tonight. It was a lot of rollover. It was a lot of ground outs. Nick Castellanos did not have a particularly strong game today. It was one of those nights. The more pressing of the two between the offense, scoring nothing until the last inning, or the pitching in tonight's individual, in a vacuum game, was of course Aaron Nola. Jamie, I know you don't want to talk about him anymore, so that's.
Oh wait, I have some more things to say about Aaron Nola.
I'm maxed out on Nola talk.
Wait, I got something else to add about Nola
tonight. Oh no!
But I will say this: we've talked about them plenty. We've given them a lot of credit on this show today and over the past couple of weeks. I think that last wild card spot is the Mets to lose right now.
I think so.
The Braves obviously have been hampered with injuries for the last, the whole season effectively. You start with Strider, and then it's Acuna, and then it's Albies, and then it's Riley, and then it's Michael Harris missed time, and they're the walking wounded. I think they're kind of out of gas at this point. I think right now, if you were to ask me who takes the third wild card spot, I would say it's the Mets.
Yeah, wow. I think.
Speaking of that battle between the Mets and the Braves, I feel pretty good about tomorrow, guys. Not only not just because it's another day for the Phillies to play, but we do get the matchup of Jack Flaherty and Chris Sale for Game 2 of Dodgers.
Sale, implode.
It is time
to implode.
Jamie, you got a soapbox behind you. You can step up on.
I mean, it's the only way, Tyler.
With the Dodgers losing 6-2 tonight, it tees it up for a great turnaround tomorrow. They didn't score much. They were shut out they were scoreless for a lot of the game. So that means the offense is going to be amazing tomorrow and light up Chris Sale. Bam. That's what I'm going to try to go with.
All right. As we get out of here, did you guys see the new helmet sponsorship for the playoffs this year? Because it is
double thumbs down.
It is very depressing.
Like it.
That is just gross. What the F? Come on.
Who makes these
helmets? Well, because the fat pigs upstairs got a little taste and they want
money,
more,
baby.
Renee.
Money.
They got some of that Jersey money coming in and they're like, ooh, I need some more. Let's sell out our helmets. So if you missed it, MLB playoffs will have sponsorship. Some German company named Strauss. I don't know what they do. It's probably something huge I don't even know about. But what? Helmet sponsorship? Come on. It sucks.
We're going to get to a point where players are individually sponsored. They're just going to get slap a sticker on their forehead before the game starts. Now batting Bryce Harper, sponsored by Sunoco.
Remember who was that one boxing match where the dude came out with the huge fake tattoo painted all over his skin? Do you remember that? I feel like the baseball is a minute away from just full on NASCAR sponsorship all over.
The last boxing match I remember watching was when the dude came out in the full suit of armor. And you could tell he was just visibly cooked because the armor was 60 pounds.
Oh, you already see it. Nick's always wearing a CP Rankin hat. They'll wear the merch, but now it's going to be full on. I bet it'll be
Nick's elbow guard will be the cast oil, lubed up elbow guard of the game.
Saying, today was a good game presented by
this 3-2 pitch brought to you by. I mean, come on.
It is just wild. There's so much money out there, and listen, sports are making bank. Not even just baseball. You look across the sports landscape, there is so much money raked in right now, and they're trying to capitalize on where else can we slap a logo? And apparently, the helmet is it. I don't know what's next because they're running out of spots to put logos.
The sponsorship thing, I think the funniest one is with the Eagles radio broadcast is Merrill Reese trying to keep up with all the sponsorships at this point because everything's a sponsor. The red zone's a sponsor. The first down's a sponsor.
This extra point attempt is brought to you by.
Yes, I actually cannot stand that. You are sponsoring plays. Come on.
Yeah, individual aspects.
Now, every time you're watching a game, they have to slap. And I've been on the other side of it. The producer's dropped in the logo, hit the sponsor. You got to get paid, but money's being rigged.
And hopefully, I'm going to win some money tonight from our presenting sponsor, Bet365. Of course, we're brought to you by Bet365, where it's never ordinary. Find out why at Bet365. Use promo code PHLY365. My thumbs up there was because Kansas State just went up 21-7, and I might have a couple dollar bills on the Wildcats. I'm kind of on a little heater right now.
Jamie saw Arizona barely squeak by mortgage on K-State.
Yeah. Hey, Renee, I am online enough that I wouldn't fall for that. Show me the money. We could have gotten Tyler, though.
We could.
I bet he has no idea.
Where's my money?
I don't know what
Tyler, do you know about that?
Oh, let's do it.
Yeah, we'll do it. It's a lot of fun. It'll be
Oh,
a good group bonding experience.
Give me my money.
No idea.
So hopefully I'm taking Bet365's money tonight with the K-State Wildcats. But again, thank you to Bet365 for presenting this lovely 11-3 loss by the New York Mets. Colby Allard on the mound tomorrow. Alec Bowman, Edmundo Sosa going on rehab assignments. That one sucked. I refuse to talk about Aaron Nola anymore. I'm going to black out and pretend his next start like these last two didn't happen and give him a fresh start and just try to have a good mindset about it. For Tyler Zulli, for Renee Washington, I'm Jamie Lynch. To everybody in the chat, James and Spiral Out and Prince Blue and Joe Sox and Lisa and everybody in there and Barbara Carroll, Seth, everyone, thank you for hanging out with us. We appreciate it. Have a great weekend. I don't feel good about the Phillies taking this series, but they're stacked up nicely for the Brewer series early next week. Everybody have a great weekend, and we'll see you next week.
Whoa.